Hello and welcome to my Ayaka guide. Today I'll be going over my Ayaka Pulls, weapon choices, the craftable Katana location, Ayaka Builds, team comps and spiral bits. Timestamps will be in the description. Please excuse my single pulls since I needed all the pull available to guarantee the weapon banner, and I started with 30 pulls so you'll understand why it seemed like I got it early. As far as 5-star weapons go, Mistblade being her best weapon, followed by Summit Shaper, Jade Cutter, and Aquila Favonia. 4 stars, we have Blackcliff if you have spare Star Glitter, Blacksword if you get Battle Pass, the Craftable Katana if you have prototypes, you will also get a prototype from the Sakura tree, finally Flute. Next, we have some situational weapons which could potentially be better than some listed, with Skyward Blade having high energy recharge, and Early Flash with its high base attack. Personally, my recommendations are any 5-star weapons you are not utilizing on any other character, Ayaka would benefit substantially from it, followed by Blackcliff being the best option free to play, Blacksword if you get Battle Pass, Amenoma Katana being the free to play craftable weapon, and Flute. So to unlock the blueprint, you'll need to find 4 slates. The order in which you find these does not matter, but you'll need to partially complete the quest Sacred Sakura Cleansing Ritual to get access to important components. Starting with a strange story in Konda where we will also find our second slate in the world. Next, you will want to do Sacrificial Offering to unlock the Memento lens. Since we are already close to completing, we might as well finish it. To use this gadget, you want to scan all small foxes that can be found with Elemental Sight. To get the ward and complete the quest, you will need to repeat the 3 lines in a particular order: top, middle, and bottom. Upon completing the quest, head to Ararumi where we'll go into the broken tower next to the tree. You may also need to do the puzzle outside if you haven't already. In our case, we can start scanning the little foxes to reveal a switch which allows us to proceed to the 3rd and 4th slates. You will notice that the water level is too high to allow you to navigate, so complete the puzzle with the cubes to lower the water level and proceed deeper inside where we'll find our 3rd slate. Finally, to get the last slate, you will need to complete the puzzle next to the slate to lower the water levels further and proceed even deeper into the tunnel. When solved, head towards the door with the switch outside and open it to locate our final slate. Here, we'll proceed deeper in until you find a ship where our last slate will be located. Now, we want to proceed to Jinren Island to free the NPC. It will tell you the location of the key and there will be a sparkle in one of the trees nearby. Once you have freedom, proceed to the second part of the quest, a farmer's treasure. Afterwards, you'll be allowed to go into a trapdoor and insert the slates we previously found. Upon completing, you'll be able to learn and craft the katana at any blacksmith. Ayaka Builds. I'll only be talking about the two main builds, Freeze and Melt / Reverse Melt. First being the best set as of currently, 4-piece Blizz Strayer with 2-piece being 18% cryo damage, and 4-piece being 20% crit rate on cryo affected enemies and additional 20% from applying the frozen status on enemies. Stat priorities with this set are crit damage circlet, attack percent sands, and cryo damage bonus goblet. Next, being more universal, 2-piece Glad and 2-piece Blizzard Strayer. I only recommend this build if you have better stats on the 2 pieces because you are losing the 40% crit rate from the Blizzard Strayer. With stat priorities of crit rate or crit damage circlet, depending if you are able to hit more than 50% crit rate, attack percent sands, and cryo damage bonus goblet. Finally, 2-piece Blizzard Strayer and 2-piece Noblesse. Personally, I do not recommend this build as the trade-off from the other builds is rather significant, but it could be a viable build for her burst quick swap Ayaka. If you are able to feel the energy required for her burst. Potentially 2-piece Glad and 2-piece Noblesse could work if you don't have the 2-piece Blizzard Strayer, but again I would not recommend this build as Ayaka has a lot more potential as a main DPS. Stat priorities are crit rate or crit damage circlet depending if you have over 50% crit rate, attack percent sands, and cryo damage bonus goblet. Additionally, a noteworthy mention is the Reminiscence set as it makes farming the 2-piece Glad stat more easily obtainable, with its 2-piece giving 18% attack like 2-piece Glad. Melt / Reverse Melt builds. First set being 2-piece Glad and 2-piece Blizz Strayer being the best for main DPS Ayaka because of it being nice and universal, with stat priorities of crit rate or crit damage circlet, attack percent sands, and cryo damage bonus goblet. Next, 2-piece Blizz Strayer and 2-piece Noblesse for more burst damage, but same issue with the freeze comp, fueling the energy required to burst off cooldown to reduce the damage loss as much as possible. Same stat priority as previously, crit rate or crit damage circlet, attack percent sands, and cryo damage bonus goblet. Finally, a slightly universal burst set, 2-piece Glad and 2-piece Noblesse being worse than 2-piece Blizzard and 2-piece Noblesse but potentially better if you already have pre-existing sets with good rolls. Exactly the same stat priorities with crit rate or crit damage circlet, attack percent sands, and cryo damage bonus goblet. Now I will do a quick overview comparing the two sides allowing you to decide your playstyle. Freeze Comp allow players to have consistent damage from the frozen status, enabling Ayaka to maximize the elemental burst ticks. It has strong crowd control, as Freeze Team allows the player to control the fight by reducing the amount of damage the team can take, and reduce the time spent fighting by preventing shields or elemental infusions from occurring. Furthermore, it is relatively cheaper to build as a team is not reliant on other characters to do massive damage but team damage is beneficial. It is great for mobbing with amino groupers such as Venti and Sucrose. However, Freeze Comps loses to potential damage ceiling because Freeze is not multiplicative compared to Melt / Reverse Melt. Last, Freeze Comps generally weaker when bossing because bosses do not get frozen, making it sometimes more difficult when trying to cleave through bosses. whereas melt/reverse melt comps have high damage ceiling from multipliers. It's great for bossing because of multiplicative elemental reactions which allow for more DPS. However, it suffers from a lack of consistency because it offers no crowd control, making it relatively more difficult to maximize damage if not utilizing skills at specific intervals, phases of boss, or dealing with multiple enemies. Next, the build is relatively more expensive because it requires other characters to be built such as Xiangling to be able to utilize the reverse melt because Ayaka can apply too much cryo to melt consistently. Finally, it has longer internal cooldowns from melt/reverse melt when compared to the counterpart. This hinders the team because it can mean that it cannot proc every potential melt/reverse melt consistently. Generally, freeze comps have an amino VV user such as Venti for his insane grouping potential, Sucrose not falling too far behind, Kaza with his large area of effect, decent grouping, and Jean being relatively decent VV procking and some grouping potential. Next, Hydro uses to apply freeze. We have Mona with her E applying relatively decent Hydro and Omen buff to boost the team's overall damage, Xingqiu having the highest Hydro application, and Barbara if you really have nothing else. Finally, supports such as Diana being a jack of all trades, having a shield and healing capabilities, followed by Bennett with his damage buff and healing, Chi-Chi with just pure insane healing, consistent cryo appliers with Rosaria and Kaya, but the lack of shield or healer could prove detrimental. Finally, potentially Zhongli having the strongest shield in the game, however the Geo attacks and resonance will break freeze comps, so this rank relatively low besides as a strong shielder. Generally, your support usually provides the cryo resonance to provide an additional 15% crit rate to enemies affected by cryo or frozen. Melt comps or reverse melt comps feature Xiangling and Bennett as the core because Bennett batteries Xiangling alongside his damage boost and healing, allowing for Xiangling to have high elemental burst uptime. Finally, your fourth character is quite flexible by bringing a VV user, cryo resonance, and battering, or just a purely shield character. Personally, I prefer using Zhongli as he has the strongest shields in the game, but a cryo battery could be worthwhile. Here are my Spiral Biz playthrough with Freeze Ayaka in first half and Melt in second half. I've tried to go through as buffless as possible into 12-3 so it's relatively comparable. Furthermore, I am very inexperienced with Ayaka Freeze team with little gameplay time with her, so please do not interpret this as the final product.
命运的虚呀，哈，起舞吧，这，哈呀，哈，呀，呀，呀，失礼了，哈，哼，呀，呀，呀，
留意脚下。
哈。 吼哈！雪纷飞，这无力的家伙，久违的对手。呀，起舞吧！哼！嘿！
固若金汤，
该总攻击了。
天理长驱，
热乎热乎嘛！见识下师傅的枪法呀！嘿，神力流，双面，嘿哈，哈呀，嘿，哼，哼，这呀，哼，起舞吧！哈吼呀，哈呀！
拒收并起。
开锅了，开锅了！嗯，这，吼。
一起来玩吧，起风。
水中幻月，阴吹雪， 天命既定。
哟呼！别想逃开啊！
哎呀！命运的雪纷飞。嘿呀嘿呀呀！呵呀！哈！失礼了，命运。雪纷飞，命运的雪，呀！
安如磐，
有大家在身边，
此乃天道。
怎么会？
拒收并蓄。
呀！嘿！热乎热乎嘛！雪纷飞，呀！哼！
拒收并蓄。
我来保护大家。
起舞吧！呀！
烧起来吧！
开锅了，开锅了！嘿，嘿，呀！
该总攻击了。
安如磐，
嘿，呀！失礼了。呀！锅吧，喷火！
拒收并蓄。
哈呀！呀！命运的虚影。失礼了。
别想逃开哦，留意脚下。
命运倒映水中，天神力流双灭，雪纷飞。嘿，
哟呼！
失礼了。嘿呀！起舞吧！命运的虚，阴吹雪。怎么会？呀！嘿！生生不绝，雪纷飞。
拒收并蓄，此乃天道。
我来保护大家。
起舞吧，拿下了。嘿哈！开锅了，开锅了！呀哈！嘿！
有大家在身边。
固若金。
雪纷飞，嘿呀！神力流双灭，哈！呀！失礼了。该决断了。呀！
Thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed.